What the heck is up today, party people? Hi diddly ho diddly neighborinos, and respectful salutations to you, Bobby the Big Bopper Brackens. Today we're starting off something new as usual, because I only do the first episode of stuff, you know. All I do is create new series and then give up on them. Today we are kicking off something called Olive D Mythics. This is where we go through an entire set, one by one, just pick out all the mythic rare cards from that set and talk about them a little bit. Today we are starting at the very beginning, Mr. Brackens. That is Shards of Alara. This was the very first set to feature the mythic rarity, which kind of changed the game forever, so it's getting kind of historical up in here. Yeah, so Shards of Alara, that was released in 2008, when I was a wee lad of 18 years old, I guess. Is that wee? Weeness aside, it had a theme of triple color identities. So there was lots of 3-color mana costs. I don't know about it at the time, but it's known now of just having some of the most absurd mana costs in the whole game of Magic because of these 3-color combinations. So there are 15 cards with the mythic rarity in Shards of Alara, and we're going to get to them right this instant, Bob. Speaking of instants, there was no instance in mythic rarities. Alright, we're starting now. Number 1, we got Tezzeret the Seeker. He costs 3 and 2 blue mana to come out. He's a planeswalker. This wasn't the first set with planeswalkers, but wasn't too long before this. He's got the +1 ability to untap 2 artifacts. He's got this cool -X ability where he can tutor to find an artifact with X mana value or less. That's pretty cool. Lastly, he can do a -5er. All artifacts you control become 5/5 artifact creatures till end of turn, so, you know, have fun with that. Next, we got Elspeth Knight Errant. She costs 2 and 2 white, and comes out with 4 loyalty counters. You can +1 to create a 1/1 soldier creature token. That's a kinda You can also +1 to give a creature +3/+3 till end of turn. You know, now we're talking. But then you can do a -8 and give all your permanents indestructible till end of turn. That's the beef right there, Bob. That's the beef. Also, sorry if the editing is kind of wonky in this one. I mean, if you just take a look at this script that I was handed to do this video, I'm going to end up editing like 45 minutes of me just squinting at this thing, trying to glean any kind of meaningful information from it. I know you don't care, otherwise you wouldn't be here in the first place. It's Ron King, the worst channel on these YouTube-tubes. Moving on, we got something cool. It's Lich's Mirror. This one is super dope, Bobby. I'm not going to lie. I want this one so bad. I can't find it anywhere, but I'll have it one day because it's worth chasing after, I think. It's an artifact which states, if you would lose the game instead... Actually, I'm not going verbatim, I don't have the card in front of me. Essentially, if you would lose the game, you instead just shuffle all your stuff back into your library and draw 7 cards and go to 20 life. So you're basically just back to square one at the beginning of the game where your opponent is where they're at. So it's like you just can't lose as long as this is out. If your opponent can't destroy an artifact or exile a permanent, you're just invincible because of this thing. Hilarious. Next, we got Crush the Blood Braided. That's 2 black, red, and a green. It's a 3/3, and whenever another creature dies, it's a +1/+1 counter for the creature's power. So that can get out of hand real quick, Bob. Real quick. Alright, next we got Hellkite Overlord. 4 generic, black, red, green. Now that's a mana cost for you, Bobby Brackens. But for that, you do get an 8/8 flying trample haste creature, so it's kind of neat, you know. That's not bad at all. It's also got a nice little Shivan Dragon ability built in. You just tap as many red mana as you want to give its attack a boost. Little booster. You can also pay a black and Really? You can also pay what? Really? You can also pay 1 black and 1 green to give it regenerate. We got my boy, Godsire. This is another whopper. 4 green, red, red, white, if I'm not mistaken. It's an 8/8 with vigilance that you can tap to just keep making as many 8/8 creatures as you want. So it's 8/8ing out here, Bob. It's 8/8ing. Next, we got Sarkon Vol. He costs 2 red and a green. This is a planeswalker. This was funny because no one had any idea who Sarkon Vol was. He was from Tarkir. He was going to be coming out way down the line. Everyone's just like, who is this dude? But, you know, that's how planeswalkers work. They just pop in wherever they want. He can give creatures plus. He can give creatures +1/+1 in haste until end of turn. He can do the old -2. Give your opponent the old razzle dazzle and take control of their creature, untap it and give it haste till end of turn. You know, that old chestnut. Or if you're feeling really saucy, Mr. Brackens, you can -6 him and put out 5 4/4 dragons with flying onto the battlefield. 5. Next, Imperial Archangel. 4 green, white, white, blue. For the mana cost. That's insane, Bob. What you get for that is a 5/8... Sorry, I burped. We're going to have to do that again. What you get for that is a 5/8 flying with vigilance. No, not vigilance. Oh, this is insane. What you get for that is a 5/8 flying with Shroud. And remember, kids, Shroud means it can't be the target of any spells or abilities, including your own. Okay, that's the difference between Shroud and Hexproof. A lot of people had trouble with this keyword back in the day. So get your stuff straight, Bob. Next, we got Ajani Vengeant. 2 red and a white. You can do the +1 to just freeze that old permanent, you know, make it not untapped during its controller's next untap step. You can -2 to give your opponent the old lightning helix. Put them down 3 and you go up 3, or hit a creature for 3 and you go up 3 life. That's awesome. Or you could, you know, have a lightning helix in your deck. I don't know. Or go down 7 and destroy all lands a target player controls. So yeah, you know we're going to want to be doing that out here, Bracco. Alright, number 10, Rafiq of the Many. This is 1 green and a blue. He's got Exalted, he's a 3/3, and when a creature attacks alone, it gets double strike. I don't really get why this guy's name is of the Many, when literally there's multiple things on the card that have to do with just being Mr. Solo Dolo. So it doesn't really make sense to me, but whatever. Prince of Thralls. 4 blue, black, black, red. Whew! I just can't pay that, Bob. I just can't see myself paying that. But you do get a 7/7 that lets you take control of any permanent of your opponents that goes to the graveyard unless they pay 3 life. So that's pretty nifty. Next up, we got Mael, the Anima. That's just a red, green, and a white. Finally, a somewhat reasonable mana cost here, Bobby. It's a 2/3, and of course, you know, to make up for that realistic mana cost, they have to make sure to give you the option to pay 3, a red, green, and a white. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and pull out a creature with 5 power or more and put it onto the battlefield, if you want. Next up, we got Sphinx Sovereign. That costs 4 and a wub. That's 4 white, blue, and black. That's a 6/6 flying that lets you have some cool utility. At the end of turn, if it's untapped, you can gain 3 life, and if it is tapped, it does 3 damage to your opponent. So you can either go up life in a pinch, or, you know, really wreck your opponent's face. Or both. Next up, Cedrus the Traitor King. That's 3, a blue, red, black. That's a 5/5 zombie boy who gives all the creatures in your graveyard unearth. So you can go ahead and bring them back for 1 turn. They can do a hasty attack and then get themselves exiled. Alright, last up we got Sharum the Hegemon. That's 3 white, blue, black. It's a Sphinx. Pretty simple. It's just a 5/5 flying artifact creature that can bring back any artifact from the graveyard when it enters the battlefield. So hey, this one's not, too extraordinary, but I guess there's some stuff you could do with that. So that's it, Bob. Those are the 15 Mythics of the very first set that had Mythics, Shards of Alara. It's pretty interesting. It's going to be interesting to follow this. I actually am planning on keeping this series going because it's interesting enough for me, for the viewer, and it's something consistent, So we'll tune in next time for Conflux, the next set in the Alara block. We'll go through all the Mythics in that one. Looking forward to that. Hope you are too. Thank you for tuning in to Ron King Magic, the worst channel on YouTube for Magic's gathering content. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time for Conflux. Peace.